All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. This is the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Spencer Israel. I am back. We got JC. We got Steve. We got Alfonso. We got the full crew back together. What should we talk about today? Maybe China, maybe steel stocks, Shopify had earnings. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the show takes us. How about that? Kenny Glick will be on today. Ari Wald will be on today. And you're here. I'm here. We're all here. Why don't we all take a moment and just hit the thumbs up button on YouTube? Let's all do that right now. We'll just it's the little orange yellowy thing. It looks like that. We can just hit the thumbs up button. That would help us all out. And there, I'm doing it. Look, I just did it. You should do it too. All right. Here we go. Is JC here? Yes. Is Steve here? Yes. That's Boogie. Oh, I didn't bring him on. JC, where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
Ready? Strazza, ready? That was the low for the rupee. You saw it. You saw it last night. That was it.
Why are we talking about rupee?
Because that was the low. That was the low.
Tariff stuff?
Everybody, if you're used to the cheap Ras Malai is now more expensive. Sorry. Sorry. Not sorry. That's it. Rupee go up now. How do you feel about that, Spencer Israel?
I didn't know that we were talking about that today.
Spencer's like, what the fuck is a rupee?
So that's the INR that he's talking about. And oh my gosh, this thing has just been getting creamed forever.
Yes, sir. That's it. Samosas are going up. Get your samosas, everybody. They're going up.
Why was that the low?
Is this some sort of
supply and demand, Spencer? Come on, baby. What do you think about
so
that?
What are you saying, that we should fade like tariff news and stuff, and we keep seeing it like it happened with the
Are they still doing that thing about the
rupee.
tariffs? They're still talking about it? Aren't we over that? Wasn't that like 2 weeks ago?
No, India was just yesterday.
Rupee go up. Rupee go up. You heard it here first. How many morning shows out there start out with the rupee? Huh, Spencer? Come on now. Got to give the people what they want.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
You know, I think it is.
We talked about it yesterday. Also, the way that these steel stocks just were, on absolute fire the entire session on tariff news. It's quite the buy signal.
What did I say? What did I say? I said every time they say tariffs, you buy more stocks. Did I not say that? I said it a whole bunch of times. Did I not? How has that strategy been working out? I'd say pretty good. Pretty good.
So
Mumbai, great town, Mumbai. I would love to just like stick Spencer in Mumbai by himself, like with nobody else. See what happens. And just have like a camera following him.
I wouldn't know what to do, really. Would I be safe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're bigger than all of them, first of all.
All right.
You would miss meat.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not good. It's actually really bad. Like I the first time I ever went to India, I was there for like a week. I didn't have meat. I thought I was gonna kill somebody.
So let me get this right. Elon Musk thinks he could just buy whatever he wants.
Well, when you're the richest man in the world, you can.
I think he can actually. I think that's. Well, I think he can also. I don't know if he believes that, but I certainly do.
Hold on, wait. Did they not just raise money from SoftBank at a much higher valuation?
Who's they?
Swore.
Yeah.
Who's they?
Elon Musk just dropped an offer to buy OpenAI.
So here's what really happened. They just raised money. They got money at a $260 billion valuation 3 days ago. And then this guy comes out here.
$260 billion OpenAI?
Yes. $260 billion. And then Musk offers them $97 billion to buy the company. That's a joke.
So I don't know if you heard, but he likes to joke around. I don't know if you heard. his profile on Twitter is now Harry Balls.
I saw. So for
Oh.
such a busy guy, doesn't it
Are you
seem like
surprised that he's joking around?
for somebody that should be so busy, it seems like he has like just plenty of time and energy to waste on dumb shit. Doesn't it seem that way?
I think I think at a certain, I don't know much about like science and brains and everything, but I'm pretty sure he has like the brain of a child, like in some ways, right, Spencer?
Yeah, no,
No, like,
that is
all
science,
joking
but that's
aside.
why he's so smart.
Like
That's why he's smart.
scientifically, right? That's why he's
Yeah.
so smart. Like scientifically, I think there's like a child in there, right?
Probably.
Little baby genius brain.
Right. All right. I think that we do a little state of the markets. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this morning we've got the Dow futures down 0.25%. That's 44,470 on the Dow. S&P 500 futures down 0.33%. That's 6,070. Nasdaq 100 futures down 0.5%. 21,720. 30-year bond futures down 0.5%. Just under 115. We got crude oil up 1.6% this morning. Big move. 73.5 for crude oil. Copper getting slammed this morning, down 3%. 455 with gold down 0.5%, 29.20. New all-time highs for gold, by the way. Silver down 1.7%, just under 32, with the volatility index just a smidge above 16. Over in funny money land, we've got Bitcoin flat on the day, 97,500. ETH 2670 flat on the day. Solana flat on the day at an even 200. Total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, 3.16. 3.16. Is that not pi?
No, what are you talking? What? 3.14.
Oh, 3.14.
1592 653.
Wow,
No,
is that true?
Yes, that's all I
Wow,
got.
nerd alert.
There's many more. I don't know them, but
That's, you know, more than most.
3.1 hanging on to the threes by somewhat of a thread.
It's not nothing. It's not nothing. Spencer Israel, we missed you yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I was in Rockford, Illinois. If you've ever been, it's like an hour and a half west of Chicago.
An hour and a half west of Chicago, a place I most likely will never go to.
I gotta tell you, if it wasn't for the fact that it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, I might move there just for the real estate prices alone. I swear.
You just giving properties away.
It is remarkable. The value that you can get out there.
Well, value is a strong word. Sounds like a value trap to me.
I love traveling to different places and just going on Zillow and checking what all the houses are worth.
I was just on the Poconos this weekend, and it's not in the middle of nowhere, and prices are very reasonable, like embarrassingly reasonable.
Jeff in the chat says Rockford is a dump. That may be so. I didn't really see much of the town. We didn't really go anywhere.
Were you inebriated for most of the weekend, Spencer?
Actually, no. I don't really like drink like that much these days. I was drinking. I wasn't like drinking a ton. But just lots of food, lots of alcohol. So it was, it was a good weekend. But
debauchery is what we call it.
Yeah,
debauchery. A weekend of debauchery. Well deserved for Spencer Israel. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Anyway, I missed you guys too. What do you guys talk about?
China.
We talked. Yeah. What the fuck do you think we talked about? Come on, let's go.
Yeah, try and keep up, Spencer.
Yeah, come on, Spencer.
That's
it was good. Oh, it was good yesterday. Let's get back to the task at hand here. What stands out in this morning's futures, this morning's action?
Nothing.
Nothing stands out. You don't think copper down 3.5% is a big move?
A little give back after, nice surge.
No, that's true. That's fair.
I mean, copper's been red hot.
Spencer, can you get Riley on the show?
Yeah.
Riley's all about like flying planes and flying cars and all this stuff, and it's very fascinating. The deep dives he's been doing. Yeah. Bring him on to talk about that stuff, please.
He's all in on these companies, and he's been right. They keep working. Yeah. Check out this coil and Archer.
Dude, he's long the Archer Aviation warrants.
Dude, we've been long those for a long time.
No, I know, but Riley doesn't strike me as a warrant trader.
I'm up like 800% on my Archer warrants.
That's exotic stuff.
They're almost in the money.
all of these crazy speculative growth stocks, so many of them have warrants. You just have to look. I can't even talk about some of the stocks we've been buying warrants in. They're just so sketchy. Have you seen the space companies now? Since somebody did a commercial about some space satellite stuff. So the ASTS went absolutely berserk yesterday. It was up like 25%, but they're all going. There's this little like, I got to ask Kenny if he's trading this SATL. Look at the coil and this breakout in SATL. There's a lot of space names. I was at a party this weekend. I was talking to construction workers about space construction and the huge build out in Cape Canaveral for like the boom town that NASA is about to become over there. Really
Dude,
interesting.
there's like a 1 in 40 chance that a meteor hits Earth like in 2032 or something like that. It's out there.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That's not true.
It's like the size of a basketball court.
It's probably not true.
Isn't it kind of ironic
Just
that
science.
like
What do you mean it's not true?
space was kind of like a dead industry for like 30 years, and now it's like private sector exploding.
Dude,
Right.
space is hot right now, man. Like
Space
so
is-
hot right now.
Space hasn't been this hot since like the 60s.
Dude, my neighbor's the chief of staff of the guy that went to space. You know that payment processing company?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yeah, that was
Seven
that
in line or something like that. What's it
shift.
called?
Was that shift 4?
Shift 4. That's right.
Yeah.
So my neighbor's so that company's headquartered here near my town, and that guy went to space. Like he just like, and he's young too. I think he might be younger than me. I think he's like 40. Just going to space, no big deal. Space is hot right now. People used to go to Vegas. Now they go to space.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about market breadth. I've been getting some questions lately that JC, does market breadth matter? How would you answer that, Steve?
And you know what? To answer the chat, we will get James from Citrini on because we actually grew up in the very same town, and he was very good friends with my little brother growing up. So that's too funny. People have been asking for Citrini research. So I know James well, and we'll get him on the show.
Guys, a big question. Big question. Does market breadth matter?
Hell yeah.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it matters
Excuse me,
because it
Stone
tells
Cold.
us what kind of environment we're in. It tells me about, how broad I could be with going into different areas and different themes. And I'll be more aggressive when breadth is positive. I'll be buying more things. So yeah, totally matters.
You know what I think? Here's what I think. I think a lot, first of all. This is a thinking man's game. And if you are in a business where thinking is important, then I think that you should spend time in your day thinking, right? Like block out time in your day where you don't have any meetings, you don't have your phone, you can go for a walk. I was doing this for quite some time without realizing what I was doing, and I could tell you for a fact that thinking is really, really helpful. Like amazingly helpful. And just saying it out loud is like, well, yeah, thanks, duh, JC. But like from a practical standpoint, and I hate to keep quoting Morgan Housel. We give Morgan Housel so much love around here. Well deserved. But I'm pretty sure it was Morgan Housel in one of his books talks about that. Taking time out of your day to actually think. And sometimes people are like, JC, like, how do you come up with some of this stuff? It's like, well,
I know.
I think, right? Would you agree, Strazza?
Large part of our job, as we're doing it, we look like we're not working. Have you struggled with that? Like, I'll be sitting around, I'll be like, news has to be on. I have to see this interview or listen to this, and my girlfriend will lose her mind. What are you doing? You're just sitting around watching. I'm like, no, this is my work. This is my job, and then I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to think about it. I might go sit at the pool and think about it, and that's
I have to explain that to my wife. She's like, what are you even doing? You just like go for walks in the middle of the day. You just do whatever you want. It's like,
I'll be on the phone for like 2 hours. I'm like, this is just a part of the process.
It's part of the process. It's part of the process. So, okay. What I think is that when you talk about the breadth of the market and you want to answer the question, are more and more stocks going up, which is characteristic of a bull market, or are fewer and fewer stocks going up and more stocks are going down, which is deteriorating market breadth, right? This is very important for the reasons Strazza said, and then some. I have a hard time coming to a market breadth conclusion without including what's happening around the world. It's
For
a
sure.
market of stocks. Stocks are an asset class, not a country, right? The United States, the most important country by a long shot. Nobody's denying that. Represents about 2/3 of the entire ACWI, doesn't it? Or just shy of that. I mean, and probably well deserved, right? I'm not like an economics guy, right? But like, does the numbers add up with like GDP and all that other nonsense with the weightings in the indexes? I believe so, correct?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. And if not, that's okay too. So let's just talk about a few of these countries. First of all, this is the broadest slide two, please. This is the broadest measure of European equities. This is the Euro Stoxx 600 index, which is equivalent to the S&P 1500 index, in that this index for Europe represents small caps, mid caps, and large caps in 17 countries across the continent, representing over 90% of the total free market capitalization of European equities.
This is such a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a huge
It's a
deal.
huge deal, is what you're saying, and I agree. Yeah.
And it has closed the week at the highest levels in the continent's entire history for 3 consecutive weeks, and now working on a 4th. Is this evidence of breadth deterioration, or is this evidence of breadth expansion, Mr. Strazza?
This is breadth expansion, and they're killing it over in Europe right now. Developed European equities. It is a bull market, and breadth is super, super bullish over there right now.
And Strazza, are European financials going out at the highest level since the great financial crisis evidence of breadth deterioration, or is that evidence of breadth expansion?
You know what? I found that like I hadn't looked at European financials chart in way too long. And this base is it's one of the best bases out there right now, in my opinion.
If the world was coming
Bullish
to
as
an
it
end,
gets.
if the world was coming to an end, right? Let's play devil's advocate. If the world was coming to an end, would European banks be a market leader and breaking out to new 15-year highs?
Do we have the EUFN chart? Because it just looks so good. No, the answer is no. This is incredibly risk on. This is offensive price action.
I will do you one better.
Yeah, you got a nice overlay, don't you?
I got the E1 fin.
Mm-hmm.
I got the E1 fin. Hold on.
I'm good with that. That's in local or USD?
No, that's a local. EU1 fin. The new slide two, please. The E1 fin is priced in US dollars, for the record.
Yeah.
And this is the European Financials Index, now going out at the highest levels since the great financial crisis. How do we feel about that?
I mean, just look at this base. This is the same as our sector culprits index, right? The dogs of the great financial crisis. Looks exactly the same. Once you get into this empty space where we crashed, 17 years ago? Once you get in there, you get really quick moves. You get big, powerful rallies. And I think that's what's going on with a lot of these stocks right now. You want to find ones, JC, that look like this individually and use those as your vehicles. Citigroup, AIG, the Fannies and the Freddies. I don't like them as much, but a lot
of the Fannies and the Freddies. I like how you said that. The Fannies, the Freddies. You know,
the Fannies, the Freddies. You know, I was talking with our good friend Patrick yesterday, and we're talking about Bitcoin. And I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot today on Spaces at 11 o'clock. So come by. And we were kind of saying to each other, I just don't know what to make of the price action in crypto. Just so sloppy. And I said to him, I think the best piece of evidence for Bitcoin or for any crypto, the whole asset class right now, is how US dollar denominated risk assets are performing elsewhere. You think that's something, JC? In other words, we're talking about European financial stocks around the world, all trending so well. We're talking about copper. Commodities are picking up the pace. Risk on currencies are digging in, moving higher. It's not the kind of environment, breadth expansion around the globe. It's not the kind of environment where I would expect Bitcoin or crypto to roll over and leave the party with everything else working. Am I overthinking
no,
it?
It's that high beta. It's the high beta trade, right?
Just other risk assets are doing so well. Are we really going to lose the cryptos right now? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Again, the breadth expansion that we're seeing in the United States, globally, the sector rotation that we're seeing in the United States, to me, is further evidence that this is not, it's probably, I don't know, but the weight of the evidence would suggest that this is not the end of technology. In fact, I'd like to point everybody to slide 7. If technology gets going, then what Strazza is saying about crypto is right on point. And here we're looking at a zoomed out chart of Taiwan overlaid with the semiconductors index. Steve Strazza, does this look over to you?
Let me see. No, it does not.
It does not.
No, sir.
Yeah.
I love this. This is some great intermarket analysis right here.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah, no, this is awesome.
What do you think I'm doing over here? See? People think it's just wine and wine and chart, like this is a thinking man's game. I'm thinking, doing a lot of thinking, Strazza.
No, I know you are. I know you are. This is good stuff. Really good stuff.
Okay, so not done. What about throw up slide 4 here? I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to pierogies, and I want to give a shout out to kielbasa. Pierogies and kielbasa. Excellent snack.
I'm not buying any of this bullshit about the meteor, by the way. 1% chance that we're gonna get hit by a meteor? How?
No, it's higher than that. It's like 1 in 40. It's like 1 in 40. So it's like I think it's like closer to 2%.
What kind of news do you like? What are you watching, like Alex Jones?
No, bro. Space is hot, man. Space is hot right now. You're not paying attention to space.
All right. I gotta get my game up.
You're too busy with like your fucking oysters and your crabs and stone crabs, like, and your caviar to worry that there are other things happening in other planets, Strazza. The Earth is not the only planet. Like, stop being so selfish.
Yeah, we're all just gonna move to Mars and flee.
I don't know about Mars.
Get hit by the meteor.
I can maybe like go on vacation in the moon or something. I don't know about Mars. So shout out Poland, new all-time highs. What about Israel? Slide 5 there, guys. Israel has been a leader this bull market.
Yeah.
I mean, just absolute monster. Shout out all things Israel, and not to mention the outperformance and the leadership out of Israel, despite the negative sentiment and rhetoric coming from that country and around the world, right? Justified, certainly. But the point is, think about, when you tell people that Israel outperformed the United States last year, you're like, no way. Yeah.
A lot of countries did. Quietly.
I don't know about a lot. I think it was 3.
Quietly. Dude,
other
areas are popping up.
And Israel. That's it.
Other areas are popping up and starting to work.
Yes, indeed. Last one, and we'll get to Kenny. Throw up slide 6, please.
Yeah.
Are you really going to bet that this is not going to resolve in the direction of the underlying trend?
Look at you and your obscure indexes today.
Is this obscure? The NASDAQ composite is obscure.
A little bit. Nobody talks about it. You know that. But yeah, it's a good one. Very broad. Nice. Lovely.
How am I doing today, guys? Huh? How am I doing? Huh?
I think you really want to see large cap tech stocks break out here. Like, let's go already.
Does this consolidation right below, by the way, do you think it's a coincidence that the consolidation is taking place right at the 161.8% extension of that entire multi-year base?
They're all going to go together. Like XLK looks similar. A lot of the tech indexes, SMH. So they're all going to go at the same time.
I agree. All right. Bring on Kenny. Let's go.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my clock, they tugged it. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
See if my microphone is on.
How many mics do you need, Kenny? How many mics?
Well, I got 2 turntables and a microphone. I just need 1 microphone. There you go. Got 2 turntables and a microphone.
The kids don't know nothing about that.
No. He's still making music, and he's so damn talented. That's
all right. We're gonna get Kenny out of the way before we, have to hear about Ari Wald and his Philadelphia Eagles. Here we go. So, Kenny, we are wondering if you are What was the stock? ASTS Strazza. Wondering if Kenny's trading it.
I've actually we would have
SATL.
Which one?
SATL.
SATL.
You have
Sarah
blown-
Logic.
No, I don't know that, but I'm short Palantir right this second, just to throw that out
Ooh.
there. Yeah. SATL, really? I a symbol I've never heard of, but yeah, within 5 minutes, I'll tell you whether I like it. I like it above 5. Yeah. Wow, that
Up
is
7% this morning.
actually, this was, if I was around in November, that's an Andy Dufresne, baby. Wonderful, yeah, from $1.
So this is so just for perspective, this is a blue chip space stock from Uruguay. So what could go wrong?
All right. Well, actually, the one interesting thing about it is that, it was dying for months and months and months and months and months. And then this explosion, and then the sell-off's been contained. You actually have a couple of real support levels on it. If it stays above 420, 420, you're all right. So, yeah, I'll definitely add it to the watch list. Thanks. Interesting. And this is brand spanking new almost, right? Hasn't been around too long.
It's spacking new, brand spacking new.
Gotcha. Maybe 3 years old. I see it now.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, I just covered some Palantir, 43.
Hey, come
43.
on now, give it up for him, y'all. That was quick and efficient, right, Kenny?
Well, we've been short for an hour now since the 1650 break. So, and I just want to point out right now, I still think Palantir is going to 120, 180, 250. And as I started my journey into this wonderful world of trading, it began by me shorting stocks that I own. And that doesn't make sense to people on the surface. Here's why. When I own a stock, like the first stock I ever bought, slot machine company, IGT, loving it, right? I went to the casinos when I was 20 years old, came back, immediately bought stock because every slot machine at every casino I was in was an IGT machine. Bought the stock, next thing you know, it's up 100%. Sold it. Wow, I'm a genius, right? And then it just kept going up for years and years and years. I never bought it back. Then I bought a stock called Adaptec. Remember that one? When SCSI drives were a thing back in 97, 98. Stock went up 100%. I never seen anything like it before. Sold it. Wound up going up 200, 300% more. And I started to notice every time I sell a stock, it seems to go up more than I was hoping for or anticipated. And I never buy them back. So I started to say, you know what? I'm going to keep my portfolio over here. And then when a stock is weak for a day or two, or maybe even just a couple of weeks or a month, I'll just short it intraday or near term, still holding on to the belief that it's going to go higher. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, because I started buying Palantir late. I was in it from the IPO, sadly sold it into the 30s and the 40s, wound up buying it back in the 80s, and I'm loving it. We loaded up on it, coming out of that earnings report. So any type of weakness, I don't want to sell the stock. I'm anticipating it actually pulling back. So I'll short it as a day trade and own it in a long-term account. So again, just to clarify that, because some people are kind of bewildered how I say I'm shorting stocks that I own. That's how I do it. And that's actually how I became a trader. And that's why I've always had this affinity towards shorting.
Well, Kenny, if you recall, when we were in New York a couple of weeks ago for the Portfolio Accelerator, we were having a conversation about Tesla. You were short and profiting while the gentleman next to you was like literally buying out of the money leaps, adding to his out of the money leap position. Yeah. And like we were just joking around. And it goes back to the old saying that 99% of arguments on Twitter or social media would end immediately if both parties just agreed that they were talking about different time horizons.
Especially fights on the internet.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Usually I'm fighting with some 12-year-old child on writing an article on Seeking Alpha. But,
right.
But yeah, I mean, what even to the extreme, we had the long-term investor who was buying that morning. I'm shorting it just because of the roll down. And then you had Pat right to my left. When I was covering, he was actually buying it at the same price as I was covering the short. I'm like, now that's teamwork. And it was a great trade for everybody. So yeah, absolutely.
Can we throw up a slide 2, please? This is the SATA logic. If you can walk through what you're looking here, what you're seeing here, Kenny, it's up 7% on the day. SATL.
Yeah, I mean, now that I see it on the longer term chart, it is a pretty damn interesting looking chart. The recent high of 561, that actually was a real, resistance level back. Looks like July 2022. And the high, of course, was when it came out of the SPAC. I guess it was a $10 SPAC as they normally are, and it popped 20% and then crashed. This is actually a very interesting chart. I mean, if you can get back over those recent highs, those are also 2-year highs. You could be looking at a $7.50 stock. Easy, easy. I like it. I like it. It's very interesting looking.
If we just get back to the SPAC price, to double.
Absolutely, yeah. And then, of course, if it breaks all-time highs, you know, just like all these other stocks that we were trading, when IPOs or SPACs get back above their all-time highs, that's when they lift off. You know, the ARM, the you know, those semiconductors that we were trading, the DraftKings back in the day. Yeah, I mean, nothing not to like here. I'll definitely put it on the watch list. Rockets, robots, space, and AI. This is the way to be.
All right, give us one more, Kenny. What's on the move today?
Well, I'm definitely looking at, if you could believe this, I'm looking at Coke. You know, it's the only day of the year.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it's the only day you'll ever look at Coke. Some of our traders were anticipating a VWAP break. It was a small loss. They're not short anymore, but I'm looking for a reason to short it, and that reason would be around $67 if it rolls back over. What else was on the list? I got another one. You know, I've been trading Amazon for the first time in a while because that stock, once the earnings came out, the selling was contained. It's trying to rust back out. It's been a decent trader. But what was it? We've been trading Roblox lately. And, you know, again, I gotta address this lunar trade again. Kathy Wood likes it. I don't like it as much anymore. And I'm not trying to be a douche about it, but I am. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that she called that stock her favorite stock. And look what's happened since. It's 3 weeks now and the stock has died. So I don't like when people like what I like. I like when people are skeptical, like the Palantir, and people are still scrambling and talking about PE ratios and EBITDA and valuations. I'm like, yes, good. Keep talking about valuation. But this stock, she kind of ruined it. I'm thinking about readjusting and dumping my whole position. It's one of the only stocks I own. So I'm focused on that 1750 area. I hope it doesn't break down. But other than that, let me see. What I had another list of stocks.
Hanging in there pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it is. You know, the bill has been still in play. The ELF from last week has been all right. But what was Humana? That's the one I wanted to watch today. I've had a lot of success trading Humana. When it got crushed down under that, close to those 200s, we rode this bad boy all the way up to about 305. So it's had some wild whipsaw already this morning, almost down to like 250. So because it's already rebounded 30 points, I'm going to wait to see if it gets hammered at the open. If I could get this down to 265, I'm thinking about looking to buy it. So
Humana, HUM.
Yep, HUM. Yeah, not a very active stock. It doesn't have a lot of volume on it, but just be patient. The volume will come in, and then we'll watch it. And right now, if you're still short the Palantir, good job. Not covering any more. And depending on where we are at 925, I don't like going into the open, being short or long anything. But right now, the trade is still working. So just working this thing down to 115. It breaks 115, we could get another 2.5 points out of it. It is obviously overbought at this point. But, you know, again, just stay cautious, my friend. Shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. All right? I'll see you in the chat room.
Adios. Kenny Glick, ladies and gentlemen. Spencer Israel, if you want to drop that link for people to join Kenny in the room.
And he's gone. Well,
and he's gone. So, guys, you know what? One of the things I really like about Kenny, and we talked about it today, is it goes counter trend to what's happening in the market. This is a mean reversing strategy on an intraday basis and has nothing to do with the longer term charts. In fact, specifically what he's doing is looking for the big pops, looking to fade them, looking for the big drops, looking to buy them for a mean reversion. And that's the strategy. So for those of you looking for uncorrelated strategies to add to your portfolio to lower overall portfolio volatility, to increase the rate of acceleration of your returns, as am I, this is one way to do that. A great way, I think.
JC, we've got Ari Wald in the house.
What a day. What a day to have Mr. Ari Wald in the house. One of my faves. Bring him out. Bring him out. Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Ari Wald in the house.
Hey, what's up, JC?
Still celebrating the victory from Sunday. How you feeling?
You know it. I love it. I see in the chat there a lot of go birds. Love to see that. That's a nice welcome to come on the morning show and see that there. But very excited for my team there. We really punched those guys in the mouth there. Dominating performance.
Very much so. Very impressive. Saquon Barkley, what a stud. Hurts, what a stud. The defense, forget about it. You got white guys playing cornerback. Like, I mean, what is happening in this
The
world?
exciting whites there. Yeah, Cooper on his birthday getting the pick six. I thought it was a phenomenal Super Bowl. Everyone around here, everyone watched with like, it wasn't a good Super Bowl. Like, what are you talking about? That was a great Super Bowl.
Well, if you're from Philly, it was great.
If you're from Philly, exactly right. Your guy Vic Fangio coming through for us there, the ex-Dolphin.
Yeah. And well, it's
together.
basketball season now. So the Sixers still aren't very good.
No,
you know.
no, the Eagles were a great, helped us forget about the Sixers there. Now we got pitchers and catchers reporting in the next few weeks there. So we might have
Pitchers
to
and
go right to
catchers
baseball
reporting.
season.
That is the best day for New York Knicks fans is the day that pitchers and catchers report. It's a celebration across New York City, as we all are well aware. All right, Mr. Ari Wald. We're having a lot of discussions these days about market breadth and, whether there's deterioration or if what we're seeing is consistent with healthy environments. And, I look overseas and I see more and more countries breaking out. I'm seeing more participation in Asia than we've seen before, broad European indices breaking out to new all-time highs. I have a hard time coming to a market breadth conclusion without including that data as part of the conversation. I also have a hard time coming to a breadth conclusion without including sector rotation as part of that discussion. So I want to throw it to you. When you talk about, where we are in this bull market cycle and the participation that we're seeing or lack thereof, is it consistent with healthy environments? Is it consistent with the end of a cycle? What are you thinking here?
Market breadth, I would, there's kind of two sides to that. Just to set it up where we think we are in the cycle, obviously pushing into the third year of this bull cycle that started in October of 2022. We're reaching the kind of average thresholds, kind of how we put it. We're not on borrowed time, but any signs of warnings, any signs of internal breadth of deterioration and narrowness, should be treated with increasing caution. More so in the third year of a bull cycle than say the first year of a bull cycle. We found that it's historically consistent to see returns moderate following two very strong back-to-back above average years. So we came into 2025 kind of with these cross currents saying, well, we were actually expecting more of a below average year at 6% return for the S&P, but very conscious to say we do not see signs of a market top developing imminently. And it could just be a market of haves and have-nots, if you will. In regards to market breadth, and that was a great European financials chart that you showed. Just awesome, right? And you could point to that and show that breadth isn't as bad as some are perhaps making it
Ari,
seem.
can you do us a favor? Can you just refresh your audio? It sounds terrible. It sounds like there's a frog on your microphone. Can you guys hear that? It sounds like there was a frog. How about now? How about now? Are we good?
How's that? How's my left pod rather?
No, it sounds terrible. Sounds like there's a frog, right? You hear that?
No, it was good before, which is so strange. When we were testing this out, he sounded crisp.
Let me get off the pods altogether. How's it just off my phone?
Oh my God, it's so much better.
Much better.
I think time to get the new AirPods. Apple's got me on the I'm due for the refresh cycle, I suppose.
Dude, what a racket. How what a racket. I was having this conversation yesterday. I need a new iPhone. I don't need to buy a new iPhone. It's not like I'm bougie and I need the up to date, the latest technology. I don't need that shit. But I literally need a new iPhone because I can't even freaking charge it. The headphones don't work. I literally need one. It's not a want, it's a need. What a racket. Anyway,
handcuff there.
So talk to me. You were saying about the cycle.
Talking about the cycle, the mixed evidence that we're we're up against here, expecting more of a moderate pace to the bull. And I think market breadth is neutral. I don't think it's as bad as some are making it out to be. I was saying that was just a tremendous European financials chart that you were showing in the prior segment.
Throw
And
that
I
up there,
get it.
slide 4. Throw it up.
Right? Cycles don't end with that type of behavior. I'd put it like this, and let's kind of rewind the tape a little bit. Into that fourth quarter S&P high, late November, early December, market breadth was broad-based. All cap benchmarks were working, large, mid, small. There was this narrative that breadth got narrow into late December. No, the market just simply corrected. Market S&P was down 5% peak to trough. It's you measure market breadth on the up moves. And we did rally again in January. On that initial January 23rd high for the S&P right before the deep seek volatility, the S&P was in the US the only major benchmark that made a new high. Russell 2000 did not. So there, for the first time, there was some minor divergences starting to creep in. With that said, the weakness since then on the correction, I would say the bull case is that there hasn't been any major damaging breakdowns either. That all these benchmarks that had diverged are still upholding their 200-day and they're not breaking below support. There isn't a sector culprit to point to either. So we're kind of in this in between. The way we're framing it is you look at the relatively weak indexes like the Russell 2000, and the headline that we put in our latest report was that we side positively on the bull cycle as long as the Russell 2000, which we use as a proxy for market breadth, just given the number of stocks that are in that index, as long as it holds its 200-day average, it's at 2190. That's the key support level. And it is still above that level. And so for these reasons, as much as there are some divergences, I would say it's not as broad as it was the latest price high as it was in late November, early December. Haven't seen the breakdowns either.
And do you buy this premise of a double top in the Dow Jones Industrial Average?
No, that's the whole point, is that they're a double top. Anything that makes a new high and corrects, all of a sudden, it could be a double top on the subsequent rebound there. It's not a double top. In all the textbooks, I believe, it's been a while since I studied for the curriculum, it's not a top until it breaks and completes and falls below the intervening low point. And I'm trying to pull it up here. I'm so used to looking at the S&P.
Don't fight Papa Dow, Ari. That's how
I forgot the code on Bloomberg and everything. I'm so used to looking at SPX.
Throw up that
double
Dow
top.
there.
Oh, because we rallied to the prior high and stopped there. It's a double top.
Don't shoot
is it a double
the
top?
messenger, Ari. Don't shoot
Is
the messenger. I'm
it
telling you
looks
what
like
you're telling me.
Why isn't it a cup and handle formation?
I don't
Tell
know.
me that.
I'm just telling you. I just asked you a question.
Beauty. Well, this is everyone, you look at the clouds, right, and you see these different patterns. I'm a trend follower. And when that action occurs above a rising 200-day average, I would argue that it is more likely a bullish consolidation range rather than a bearish consolidation range. I mean, it's more likely to be a continuation pattern rather than a reversal pattern.
So not a double top in the Dow, in your professional, humble opinion.
Well, it is not a completed. It would not be a completed top until it breaks the January low point. And
42,
if you are
42.
worried about that, I would say this: what's more important for investors is to identify what's causing that weakness, what's causing the divergence, what's the market selling as you get back to that level. What are the relatively weak areas? This is the whole idea: buy relative strength, sell relative weakness. The weak get weaker when market trends are wrong. If that is a top, if the bull, and we're not as bullish as we've been in recent years. I want to be open to some topping conditions. I will tell you what you don't want to be in.
What don't you want to be in, Ari?
I see risk in small caps. We downgraded Dow Transports in our latest report to underweight. It's this idea that there's relative risk and relative weakness. It's the areas that are showing relative weakness on the way up. That when you kind of take the market, the rising tide out of the equation, the weak get weaker, and that's what those relative ratios capture. Is if you got an absolute price line going up, but a relative line going down, the rising line could be attributed to the fact that we've been in this 3-year bull market. You take that away, I am of the view that lagging stocks build their tops first, and that's where there's greater risk.
So you don't like the small caps, you don't like the transports. They have been moving almost tick for tick together for years now, which is interesting. What about the things that you like? What do you like?
Our top 3 sectors we like. Well, we are moment advocates for momentum investing, and I think the momentum factor is the key factor here. We've done a lot of performance studies that show that between the cycle's broadest moment, and this was the question that we were probably even in the fourth quarter, was this the as good as it gets moment? I might have been on here talking about that potential, where this is the point where most stocks are participating but don't lead the leading indicators. And what we wanted to identify are what's the behavior between the cycle's broadest moment and its final peak when those divergences creep in. And typically the momentum factor outperforms in that environment. A bifurcated tape becomes more bifurcated. The leaders continue to show strength, and it's the lagging stocks that are at risk. And the sectors that rank high for us in terms of momentum are it's the same sectors we liked a year ago going into even 2024. And that's technology, financials, and industrials. That's where we're seeing not only the most strength, but the broadest strength across capitalizations. Whatever I think about small caps, those would be the areas that we do favor at the small cap space as well. So one industry in particular we've been highlighting of those is software, in terms of the tech trade. That as much as we've seen these intra-sector rotations, as much as semis have now broken down, and probably the weakest they've been in a while. And at this stage of the cycle, I'm not sure if they're coming back at this point.
Can we definitively say that semiconductors have broken down?
I could definitively say it's at best a mixed bag.
Has been, right? It's been the big 3. It's been Nvidia, Avgo, and Taiwan Semi, and then there's been the rest.
It was pretty broad up until this third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, and then the election, right around October, November, it flipped, and then you saw the rotation go back into software. And so now I think, and now software had the big post-election run-up. They've consolidated back, and now I think that's kind of where the broader. So as we think about rotation and even intra-sector rotation, again, a characteristic of a bullish advance, I think it does speak to why we're still positive on technology and tech for the long run for us.
Can we get back to this momentum factor? One of the things that that I generally like to do is start with what we know, right? Because there's a lot of things that we don't know. Like we actually don't know most things, like almost everything we don't know, right? But we do know a few things. We do know that asset prices trend. We know, right? Facts only. We know that momentum does exist. It actually is a thing. We know, right? And facts only, right? So you're talking about the momentum factor, and one can argue this might not be the best constructed ETF, right? Everybody has their opinions on this thing, but nevertheless, new all-time highs for the USA momentum factor, of which technology is the largest component, pushing 28%, Ari. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, this ETF gets a bad rub from academia because they don't equally weight it. Academic research, which has shown the momentum factor has worked, over the last, looking at a century plus of market data. No style of investing always works, but it has shown to be an alpha generating strategy. There's this idea that there's conservatism bias in markets, that $1 of earnings doesn't instantly get priced in. It gets priced in 25, 25, 25, 25, and it creates these steadily developed trends. And we even had a try to beat momentum OPCO contest where we kind of showed even the results of this MTUM, it might have been, and we, said to our institutional clients, we'll come in, we'll buy you lunch if you could kind of show me a one rule fundamental, a fundamental strategy that can show that type of performance over a longer term period, and no one was able to do that. So MTUM, they cap weight it. They do have a bias towards larger cap stocks, which again, academic will tell you, don't do that. Keep it equally weighted. But nonetheless, I mean, just given the strength in large over small, that with the way they've defined it has helped that calculation and is capturing the strength that we are seeing in that factor. Yeah, that's good.
Even though it's not like the best constructed, I mean, one can argue that it's not the best constructed. Even though that's the case, you would chalk this up as one for the Bulls?
Well, I don't know if it's one for the Bulls, but it's one for if you're it's argues for this is the strategy that you want to be in. I don't know if momentum working is necessarily bullish for the market. In fact, the points when momentum underperforms are you're more risk on periods. When you get the collapses in the factor, and as we think about factor performance, it's on a market neutral basis, being long the top quintile, short a bottom quintile, or however you dissect it. As we think about these prior momentum crashes, 2009 being a very big example of that, even 2020 to a certain degree, it's typically coming out of a major market low point when if you're short junk stocks with low momentum, the cycles, bear cycles, biggest laggards, you get absolutely killed. So in fact, and we're arguing here is that the momentum factor is actually going to outperform into at the later stages of a bull cycle. So perhaps it's more consistent with this more later equity cycle that we're seeing, perhaps, and it argues that strategy wise, those are the stocks you want to own.
Let's talk overseas, Ari. You live in the United States of America. Well, you live in New Jersey, right? Does that qualify? Does that count?
Yeah, I think so.
New Jersey, underrated state of New Jersey. I find myself saying that a lot.
Definitely.
As a resident of the state of New Jersey, would you agree that it is underrated?
It is underrated, and it's kind of weird. And I went to school in New Jersey, Rutgers, but living in Philadelphia and spending a lot of time in New York City, and now all of a sudden being a Jersey guy kind of feels a little weird. But I love it. I love it here. I love big space. I love the suburbs.
And Rutgers is very Jersey.
Rutgers is very Jersey. Yeah, that was my first experience with the Jersey.
It was very aggressive at times, I imagine. Very aggressive.
Yeah, Jersey's great. And being a Jersey resident and a U.S. investor, as I think about exposure overseas, you haven't needed it, right? In a long time. And there's these periods where it is beginning to work again, as you showed that terrific European, and the Europe stock 600, both in local currency terms and dollar denominated terms, both working. What's interesting to me is if you look at the relative ratio versus the S&P 500, it really hasn't changed the long-term downtrend of world versus US, or the uptrend that US has been in. Yet, right? Yeah, you want to be open to a change in trend there. I don't see it just yet. I'm still US over world. I'm big over small. I'm growth over value. That's where I see the strongest relative trends.
What about the new 3-month highs in China relative to the United States? Is that a good start for this rotation globally?
Yeah, to start, this is the best China has looked in years, right?
Most people's careers.
Yeah. I always think about what is the backdrop for China and that to work.
Sentiment is at washout levels. Sentiment is worse in Southeast Asia. It has sucked forever. They're communist. Tariffs, right? None of that is a secret.
Yeah. I do like to think that all these global markets are correlated, that it's not going to be, China up, US down.
Yeah, but it's been Europe up, China down. It's been Taiwan up, China down.
No, but
right?
if
You know what I mean?
if the U.S. is going down, this is all going down with it.
Yes, most likely. Yes,
Right. So if I'm exposed to
almost guaranteed, probably.
tech, financials, industrials, that's still generally a pro-cyclical portfolio right there in the U.S. If China's going to work, I'd like to think that the stocks I'm going to be in can also do well in that environment. So I guess I welcome it. I guess the point being is I love to see this action that you're showing me, because that would suggest, okay, that I'm right with my thought being that I don't see imminent market top risk because of this action. I would be, and then I always think, if everything starts to go south, what am I going to defend first? If China breaks that 200-day, and you're right, it's trying to curve up above it from it there now. But if they start to point south again, all of a sudden you have a resumption of some pretty long-term downtrends. And I'm going to want to cut bait pretty quickly. So to me, these are still kind of beta trades, if you will. I think you still got to cut them quickly. And so I always say that that's the caveat. If things come in, I want to be in the stuff that I know I can also defend
And
on
you
the
can't
downturn.
here.
If we get a 10% global market sell-off here, I'm going to be looking to buy U.S. stocks before world stocks.
That could change next time we talk.
Could change. Don't see it yet. Don't
I
see the
said the
change
other
yet.
day, Ari, I said something relatively outlandish. And I've been thinking about it a lot because I said it without even thinking about it, and I meant it. And I like to play devil's advocate with myself, right? And I said Chinese stocks could double this year. I said that. I said in a private closed door meeting. So fine. And then I started thinking about it, and then I said it publicly, kind of like asking Strazza if he thought that was a little aggressive. And I've been thinking about it a lot because these are the things I think about.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that Chinese stocks are going to double this year, but I think it's on the table. Like, you can't say that's off the table. That is certainly within the realm of possibilities, in my opinion, after giving this a lot of thought, after I said it without even thinking about it. Would you take that completely off the table, or do you think that's a possibility?
No, and we've changed the goalposts a little bit. I mean, we went from talking about Europe now talking about China. I would agree China is farther
Not the
along.
same. Not the
The
same.
basing, right there, it has much more of a multi-year base to it, even on a relative basis, where that potential is much more likely. And that's the whole idea. As I think about, I don't think about whether it could be a double. I would like to think anything could possibly be that. That's the idea of trend following, is have these big winners to offset the small losses. And so as China kind of has this emerging momentum look, I think, yes, select exposure does make sense for that possibility, because if that starts to move to the upside there, that'd be a pretty big multi-year breakout in trend. I'm just looking at the K-Web China Internet ETF. I'm sure they all look pretty similar. And so the setup is there. And so
Straz
maybe,
is chiming in here on the chat saying that is actually on pace to double because it's already up 10% year to date. So granted, small sample size, but he's not wrong. Not wrong.
and a double would still have you below the year 21 peak.
I'm
Amazing.
saying.
Just as we
I'm
talked
saying
about
if
the
that's your target,
underperformance.
we could get there this year, maybe next year. Not out of the question at all.
Now, if that happens, where is the S&P 500?
7,500.
Yeah. That's that's good. The right answer. But that's a bull. That happens in a very bullish tape, I would love to see. That kind of gets to this
And so
idea
hold on,
that,
let me double click on that. You think that is 100% bullish? You don't think China could be like Notre Dame?
well, to me, it's the consistency in the message. What I hear, it's so easy. You turn on TV and somebody hates U.S. stocks because they're expensive, but then they're telling you to buy small caps and buy China, and like all this stuff. Where, well, if the U.S. is expensive and is going to come in, that your stuff you're putting me in ain't going to work either.
No.
Be consistent with your messaging, and that was a very consistent message you gave there. If that you are to make the call to advise your clients to buy China, one should have a more bullish outlook on the market for U.S. stocks as well. Because I think if
Cyclicals
that's
in
going to work,
particular, right?
yeah, I think U.S.
Growth.
stocks go higher as well. And so I might not be in the biggest high flyers in China, but I think I would have a portfolio that would at least, do well. And for me, it's all about risk reward, and I'd be happy in that environment. So I hope you're right.
But if you're gonna go junky China, you go junky China. Like you can't half-ass junky China, right? Like go big or go home, right? Like if you're gonna do it right, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone's got their own risk objectives.
You're gonna go. Oh, you're gonna go to the steakhouse and you're gonna get the chicken? Come on, get the ribeye, right? Let's go.
I mean, I'm sure there's a Warren Buffett saying I could pull up here, right? You need the bets to keep on playing, though, right? So you can't bet it all on But if it's all risk reward, right? I think select exposure makes a lot of sense there. But if you get burned on this trade, you want to make sure you have some ammo left over to trade elsewhere.
I really like how much people have been burned in this trade. That's part of the bullish catalyst. Like, fool me once, fool me twice, like hand on the stove, right? Like, there's a lot of that in this market right now.
And can you agree? I mean, look, K-Web, there's what, a decade of history. It hasn't, I mean, the longest it'll work for is probably a few quarters, right? Maybe there's a year period in there, probably all pretty bullish periods where it's worked, bull market periods. But aside from that, for the most part, it kind of works for a quarter or two, and that's it.
That base in K-Web, you're looking at a triple, baby. You're looking at a triple.
And still even below where it was in 2018.
I know.
It's like when you think about what U.S. stocks have done since we're underwater. This is at the same levels as a decade ago. 2015, you're in that same range.
Yep.
Right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And Ari, I know you got to hop. You've given us a lot of your time. I appreciate you, man. Always one of my favorite guests. Last thing, what are you seeing out there? Nobody's talking about. What do you like? You're doing your thing. You're talking to your clients, and you feel like you're the only one talking about this. Anything out there?
As somebody who likes momentum and stuff that's already worked, that's always a tough one to say. I try to keep it so simple and obvious. The more obvious, the better for me. I mean, we've just been keen on the momentum factor in particular. Looking at even as we think about, and it's a ratio I know you've shown before, the relationship between high beta versus low volatility. And we've seen that stall to a certain degree. And that's one of those yellow lights out there for me.
Yeah.
We dug a little bit deeper, and I suppose this is where one chart that we're showing that I haven't seen elsewhere. And we looked at what's working within beta, specifically high momentum beta versus low momentum beta. And what we're showing is that the ratio is still favoring high beta plus high momentum. That the momentum factor is working within there, which is just to say, well, if you're worried about kind of this rollover in beta, it's really the low momentum stuff that's weighing on that, which fits our idea. We're bearish on the stuff that's not working within that. So again, I continue to come back, and we've done some studies, and probably this is one where we've done some more differentiated work, where if you look at prior cycles between the broadest moment and the final peak, momentum factor, that's where we want to be.
Last chart here, slide 2. Ari Wald, correct me if I'm wrong. This thing breaks out. The China trade's probably working nice.
Yeah, and I like, the annotation is pretty interesting there. Is it that, or I'm sure somebody might make a nice little curve the other way and show a pretty big top there. What about your double top? I mean, where you just showed me that chart in the Dow Industrial Average on a different fractal.
First
where
of all,
you just told me that was a possible double top.
First of all, to be clear, it's not my double top. It's what they are telling me is on my double top. I'm with you, bro.
My point is consistency. Consistency. Don't show me the same charts with two different annotations, though. Consistency. If one's a double top, then don't. All right, but to your point, it's beauty is in the eye of how you look at these things, right? Or is it just another failure at resistance? And that was our point. Well, let's identify what's failing it to break through. Why does it keep failing at that level? So it's which way do you look at this thing? That even on that smaller time frame, going back, that 1 year period there, can't get through that resistance level.
Same chart, different annotations. Can you throw up that new slide too? Right? Same chart, different annotations. Both valid, in my opinion, my humble opinion, very humble opinion. Same chart, different annotations.
Right, but you showed me the right. That's the Dow Industrials, only with the arrows pointed the other way. Exactly. So which way is it going? What I guess we've been drawing the annotations with the fact that you can't push through resistance. So here now the S&P has continued to push higher, right? What was initially high beta leadership, now you get new S&P highs, and I would argue that there's a divergence that's emerged here, where the S&P's been able to push higher, but high beta stocks haven't been able to lead with the same magnitude, and that hasn't necessarily been able to lead there. So again, for us, and we argue it's stronger now than at prior sell-off. We've kind of overlaid this with credit spreads and showed, well, credit spreads are showing resilience and there's some positives that are balancing this. But more importantly is, all right, well, why hasn't beta been able to push through? And it's about identifying why hasn't industrials been able to go. Thank you. There we go. That's the industrials chart you sent me. Why haven't they been able to push
it's like
through?
this? You think it's like this or not?
I don't see it either way. I was arguing that the industrials chart wasn't a double top either. I'm saying what's more important is identifying what's going on. What are the drivers when you're especially in these in-betweens where it hasn't decidedly broke out other ways. Let's now take another step further, look underneath the surface. What's driving the strength? What's driving the weakness? Buy relative strength, sell relative weakness. And that was kind of, we were showing that the momentum in particular, it's high beta, low momentum. That is the reason that's been weighing on beta and failing, and the reason why it hasn't been able to make new cycle highs.
Is energy going to break out of this 15-year base, the XLE? Is it time?
I don't see it.
No, huh?
I don't see it.
Energy representing 2% of the momentum factor. So in other words, not a lot of momentum.
It's low momentum, right? Yeah, hasn't worked. I think it doesn't seem to be trading on the dollar, rightfully so. I always kind of start like I those big energy moves in prior years seems to be accompanied by a significant decline in the U.S. dollar. Of course, they've been kind of off. The correlations haven't been the same recently, but even the price of oil, barely, once again, I think it might be back below the 200-day average. It's not showing, really strong action there. So pick your spots. We like midstreams. For us, that's the best of energy.
When did we start calling them that? Remember we used to call them master limited partnership? When did we start calling them midstreams? I never got that memo.
Yeah.
It's marketing, right?
Marketing.
Ari, we'll let you run. Are you going to the parade?
I was ready to take my kids. We're actually heading up to Vermont. We've had a previously planned trip to driving up to Vermont on Friday. So
where are you going? Stowe?
Killington.
Nice.
Got plates up there. First winter, I'm not going out west. It's kind of a bummer, but I'm investing in the kids, taking the day, ski with them. Because if I'm out west, it's like see a family. I'm out of here. So we're going up there. I'm going to miss the parade, but it is exciting right now in Philly, and I'm so happy.
You recommend? So my front door neighbors, they're thinking about going. They got a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. You think it's okay to take them, or is it a little aggressive with these Philly people?
To the parade? Oh, take them. Get them started early. Did you say
these
see that clip a few
fans
weeks
are
ago
crazy,
with the 8 and 10-year-olds yelling at the Giants fan there? They start them young. Definitely take them to that parade.
Yeah, all right. I told my wife, I was like, I don't know. It's a little aggressive. All right.
No, you don't want them out the night they won. You don't want them out with when the sun goes down, but daytime are good.
When the sun is down, they'll make sure they're home. Fair enough. Ari Wald, ladies and gentlemen, the legend, chief strategist at Oppenheimer. Follow him on Twitter at Ari Wald. Be safe out there skiing in Killington. You got a lot of New Yorkers up there named Joey skiing in jeans. They're crazy.
I hear that. Thank you, JC. Go Birds.
Adios.
Take care, everyone.
Ari Wald. He's the man.
He is always very generous with his time whenever he joins us. Yeah.
Always a great call.
Is he our favorite guest? He's definitely like at least top 3. Maybe my favorite guest. Definitely top 3.
Yeah. I think about it more of like in tiers. He's in tier 1, or he's like S tier
Yeah, no, I agree. Tier
Yeah.
1. Yeah, tier
Tier
1.
one
I like
gas.
how you did that, Spencer. That's good. Yeah, tier 1. Tier 1 gas.
We got a lot here, guys, to kind of go through. Can we just jump right into earnings? Throw up the earnings calendar. Give us the read on Shopify. This company is just incredible. This is one of these growth stories that you just have to own this stock. They trade at like 20 times sales. The stock has been crazy expensive the whole time it's been public, and that probably continues. Breaking out here today, and I really like when they sell it first. Right, I love it when the initial react. It was down like 7-8%. The initial reaction. Now it's breaking out here. This is just great. So the action Shopify continues to impress me. Looks like they beat on top and bottom, Spencer.
Shout out Canada.
They did beat, and like you say, it is down 2% today, but it's off the lows, which I'm always watching, where it is in relation to the high or the low of the morning, right, or the afternoon. So in this case, the morning. So well off that print, and
So-
like you said, been trading higher now for like a few hours at this point. So
Shout out Josh in the chat. SMCI reclaiming the fraud WAP. Love that. So I guess they finally
Fraud WAP. I like that.
So Supermicro finally found somebody that's willing to sign an audit opinion for them. So that's great. I guess the stock's not getting delisted now. So some analyst notes out this morning. Very excited about the non-delisting of SMCI. The cool thing about fraud and almost getting delisted, that is that if it's not fraud and you don't get delisted, Catalyst, higher prices. This has been one of the best stocks this week.
I got one for you guys. The new slide 2. If you have a sensitive stomach, close your eyes and earmuffs, because this is really the shit of this market. Slide 2, please, if you will. Spencer Israel. Anybody taking a shot down here? Anybody taking a shot down here on this bullish momentum divergence in Intel? Anyone? Any takers?
I always say I like any trade with an obvious out. You've got super obvious out here, right? So
look at Strazza's face. Strazza's disgusted with me right now.
I don't hate this, right?
I'm fine with it. I mean,
on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate this?
You set your stop at 18 or whatever.
This is a trash company. There's been no reason to own this in my entire career, and that probably continues. However, some of these legacy tech stocks are trading really well, like IBM, Cisco, Oracle, Dell. Give them to me all day. Intel, no, thank you.
Now, what's wrong with this? Throw a stop at 18. You're done.
What's wrong with it, Spencer? Take a look at
how much time
relative to the S&P 500, and just zoom out as far as your eyes can see. That's what's wrong with it. If you like underperforming, that's a stock for you.
No, yeah. If you like underperforming, this is great. This is great for you. Yeah.
Elliott Management, really interesting. Two big new activist positions in the oil and gas space. PSX, and the other day was British Petroleum. So interesting to see activists getting after some of these traditional oil and gas names here. Commodities are waking up. We're out here talking about commodity countries, commodity currencies, and Elliott's building some massive stakes in these energy companies. That definitely stood out. And Archer Aviation, yeah, bring Pat on. He loves the Archer. Archer Aviation, big pop yesterday. They got even more money, $300 million. In financing. They won't list who the institutional investors are. BlackRock's listed, but not the others. So this is the one that has money and backing from Stellantis currently. More institutional money flowing into these eVTOL names. Really interesting. Excited to have this conversation with Riley in the future.
Anybody buying Home Depot?
No. David Tepper has been busy buying more Chinese stocks, though. So he increased his stake in Pinduoduo, Alibaba.
How to date is that data?
It's about 45 days stale. We don't know when during the quarter.
Accurate.
It doesn't matter. The point is, he's investing. This bullish thesis for him is based on the primary trend. So he's going to be here for a while.
That's probably right.
He'll trade in and out of them fine. He'll add exposure, take some off. But he said, buy everything in China about 3-4 months ago. China went into a corrective phase. Everybody laughed at him. And what was he doing? He was out there buying the dip in China while everybody's mocking him. So now he's just beefing up his positions, and he probably keeps beefing them up in the future. But that's really interesting. He really likes the JD.com. He's in KWeb too.
If you can throw up the new slide 2 there, please, if you will, Mr. Spencer Israel. I'm looking at a one Home Depot. Throw up the new one. I made a better one. Throw up the new one. This is Home Depot. Little bit of a false start in December. Little false start. Little scoop and score. Little scoop and score.
Home Depot.
Yeah. Throw up my chart.
I'll be there tonight. We got some things to pick up.
Home Depot is one of those places where I feel like such an idiot every time I'm there. I'm like the dumb guy asking stupid questions. You know what I mean? Like I feel just so dumb when I'm like at Lowe's or Home Depot.
I learned a while back. The trick when you go there is to not look for anything. You need to find a person that works there. First thing you do is find someone that works there. Ignore everything else. Beeline for that person and say, "Hey, I'm looking for XYZ. Point me in the right direction."
And the people that work there know a lot about things that I know nothing about.
They know everything.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to me, so
Yeah.
maybe they don't know
Wild.
everything.
It's wild. Like the dispersion in the knowledge of this subject matter when I walk in there versus the people that are working there. It's wild. Yeah.
All right. We got Patrick in the house.
Oh,
Should we bring him on?
long above 420?
Yeah.
You think that's a
I like it.
coincidence? You think this is not a simulation? Come on.
What is this Dominari Holdings? You see the Trump's joined their board. Stock's been absolutely ripping.
I
Is
did.
Trump allowed to be on the board?
No,
of
it's
companies?
not.
Isn't the
It's
president of the United States?
not the
Sons.
president. Not the president. It's the
kid?
Yeah.
Both of them
Donnie Jr.
Both of
doing
them,
like
yeah.
AI stuff.
Yeah,
This
I
is
saw that.
ridiculous.
What
This
could go
chart.
wrong?
Okay. Yeah, great.
Bring on Pat.
Bring Pat on. Yeah.
Hey, Pat. Did you find us an office in New York yet?
Patrick.
The search is on. The search is on.
We're getting office space in New York City. How many people these days are actually looking for office space in New York versus trying to get the hell out of their lease?
Listen, it's
Hey?
a contrarian move.
Listen,
Contrarian
it's a
move.
bull market around here. That's for damn sure. I can't speak to other people or their companies, but we're doing pretty well.
Hey, check this out. Press release from Netflix. Netflix is exploring partnerships with podcasters to bring video podcasts to its platform, potentially tapping into a growing market of creators. The company is interested in licensing popular podcasts or creating original content, aiming to compete with YouTube's podcast dominance. So I guess we're coming to you guys soon on Netflix.
Yeah, they called me
Wow.
yesterday. They're like, "Yo, Jay, you want to come through Netflix?" And I was like,
All right.
I'm not
Great.
like a cheap date. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to like, show me the money.
Well, Jerry Maguire.
Kids these days don't know nothing about that. All right, Pat, are we going to space? What are we buying?
Oh man. I mean, the China is hot, of course. Steve, I heard you mentioning Archer. What about the E-Hang? That thing's just been nuts.
Who?
What is it, like a Chinese EV helicopter thing?
Oh, Chinese EV helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm in. That sounds
Yeah.
great. What's the ticker?
It checks
buying
so
it right
many
now.
boxes, right?
I'm buying it
Just
right now.
EH.
But seriously, like
EH.
mobility is a major theme all around the world.
What does that mean, mobility?
Things that move, my friend. Cars.
I
buses,
think it's just
trains.
because
Flex
flying is so
vehicles.
miserable these days that anybody who gets in a domestic flight is just like, man, how can we change this? How can it be
People are
marginally
throwing
better?
money. Investors are throwing money at these companies, Pat, because I think that it just makes a lot of sense. This solves a big problem.
Yeah.
If somebody can do this well. Bang, E-Hang, look at that thing.
So this is electric helicopters?
Yeah.
That's what the EH is for. Yeah, you got it.
Oh,
That's
man.
what EH is for. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, that's clever.
I don't think so.
Dude, they definitely don't make any fucking helicopters and the whole thing's a scam.
Yeah.
And if I hope it is.
sure.
I hope it is. Scams do really well.
I'm long. We're
You're
in.
long the E-Hang?
We already sold a double. Yeah,
E-Hang. Look at that base, baby. Woo-wee.
it's a good one.
All right, Patty, what else you got?
I mean, also everything that goes along with China and that usually rips along with it. Of course, that crazy move in copper this last week or so. I think it's
like
up like
copper
double
here.
digits in the past week.
I know what you like.
You know I like the copper here.
Did you buy some of the HUD Bay?
Yeah. HUD Bay looks great. Just knocking on that, kind of approaching on that $10 level again.
Great base.
Quite a
Great
few of these
base.
commodity plays working.
Anything on the common stock in the commodities with that copper? In addition to
HUD Bay.
The HUD
HBM.
Bay. I think the HUD Bay is
That's the one.
That's the one.
Looks better than anything else.
What about the COPEX?
But look at
What do you
metals
think
and
of that one?
mining stocks. If you look at XME and you drop that VWAP from the election gap up, we're now back above it. Buyers are back in control of these stocks. And the headlines, natural resources and commodities with the tariff stuff, it's just been relentless. But the bulls are back in control. I think that's really interesting.
Man, this one's tried so many times.
Shout out Match.com CEO. Some insider buying in online dating sites. Match getting a nice little pop here today. Not really. Jeez.
What else we got for earnings today? We got, I think Hood today.
What do we got? Throw up the earnings calendar.
Man, Hood's completing that base. Either going to get rejected at those old highs or
the stock has been so good.
Dude, seriously. So this is
Zillow.
So on a weekly closing basis, these are new all-time highs. So post IPO, when it ripped higher and then fell apart, these are weekly closing all-time highs for Robinhood.
And how many setups have we seen just like that, JC? I mean, Palantir looked like that before it came out of the base. Hims looked like that before the base. Bros looks like Hood does now too. It's kind of finishing up that base. I mean, we've seen this roadmap so many times.
Anybody shorting Netflix here?
You know, it is coming into that fib. That
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No. It's the fib comes in just above 1,000.
Right.
Any takers shorting Netflix? I'm not going to put that. I'm not going to short Netflix.
Because
you can wake up one morning and this thing's up 20% after hours and you're fucked. Right?
Yeah, that's what Netflix does. It just sits around and then makes all of its move at once.
Yeah, like this is one of those things where, like, in my head, I would be selling naked calls, but since we have a hard rule that we don't sell naked calls, I will not be doing that. But like, this is one of those where, like, in my head, I'm feeding the ducks, but I'm not actually going to sell naked calls. But like in my head, you know,
that's a good rule. I'll avoid some headaches.
Dude, if you don't know why it's so bad to sell naked calls, I would encourage you to go to the city of Chicago and just go around bars in Chicago, like near, like, you know, the financial district, and just like ask traders there to tell you stories about their experiences selling naked calls.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will not do that.
Really?
You know, but yeah, that's good. Like homework. Like if you're like, oh, I want to learn, I'm new to the market. Like, what's the best way to learn to not sell naked calls? Rather than just doing it and getting your face ripped off, go to Chicago. It's a lovely town. Not this time of year. Wait a few months. Wait till like May. Go to a Cubbies game. Go to Little Kingston Mines, right? Little Kingston Mines action. Go talk to some traders about their experiences selling naked calls. Well worth it. Well worth it. Don't go in February.
Don't eat the canned tuna from Walmart. Botulism.
What?
Yeah. Botulism.
Botulism?
Canned tuna sold at Trader Joe's and Walmart recalled over botulism concerns, FDA says.
What is botulism?
Botulism. I have no idea, but what a word. Botulism.
Okay.
Don't eat the canned tuna at Trader Joe's.
Final trade, Pat, and we'll do a little recess.
Oh man, final trade. Going with the copper. It's a little extended, but
I like
it's on its way.
And then you buying copper futures, or maybe like a little Freeport McMoran, or a little Southern Copper.
With the HUD Bay. I like the HBM.
I love that.
I think it's tried so many times, and it looks like it's ready.
All right, rock and roll.
Nvidia ripping. Intel, JC, you're moving the market here. Intel up 4.5%. No specific headline for this move. It's just JC pumping it on the morning show.
So listen, didn't it got the boot, right? It wasn't until they kicked Intel out, they put Nvidia in, right? In the Dow.
Yeah, by the way, we are now officially ready. 138.
Oh, and yes,
You're 4 points away. There's 2 weeks left in the month, or a little over 2 weeks left in the month. We're 4 points away from Nvidia closing the month at the highest levels in history.
Are you guys excited for the Powell today?
What is it, tomorrow?
I thought he got fired. Didn't he get fired?
Oh, he's on in 3 minutes. Did you see Musk? Did you see Elon Musk saying that they might audit the Federal Reserve?
Nice.
Dude, like, oh man.
No, they were
going
gonna put Ron Paul. They were gonna have Ron Paul do it.
Dude,
like,
think about the headline. Think about the headline. Harry Balls audits Fed.
Yeah.
Like that, come on. It's probably going to be on April the 20th. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too good. Too good not to.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be
Ron
alive.
Paul's
Anyway,
like 90 years old.
It's his annual testimony in front of, I think, the Senate Banking Committee today.
My
some good
neighbor
stuff in there.
named their dog Ron Paul.
JC will watch clips of Elizabeth Warren harassing our Fed chairman later on TikTok, right? One of those. It's one of those things.
Yeah. All right, let's do some recess.
Let's do it. I am doing a little program situation this evening. I'm going to a birthday party. The food there is going to be mostly not on the program. So I'm going to eat chicken wings before I go to the birthday party.
Not canned tuna.
Not canned tuna. I'm not a canned tuna guy these days. I used to do a lot of that in college, not these days.
You get
More of
takeout,
a bluefin tuna. You know what I'm saying? There.
JC, you making these wings at home, or you getting them from somewhere?
I made them last night. But if you're going to order wings, I would encourage you to order them from Lenova in Buffalo, New York, through a website called Goldbelly.
Heard of it. I got nothing today.
Nothing. All right.
Nothing. Excited for Spaces. Join us at 11 o'clock.
I'll be there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's see how long we can go without talking about
skiing this weekend.
You went skiing? Where'd you go?
In like 2 years. Greek Peak. It's, I think, near Binghamton. But I'm supposed to go to Killington this weekend, so maybe I'll see Ari there.
Wow.
Oh, maybe you'll see Ari Wald. Nice. All right.
What do you think of East Coast versus West Coast skiing?
What about Ice Face? You ever go to Ice Face?
No, where's that?
I don't know. Up there somewhere, like north of the Bronx, like upstate New York.
No.
You know? No.
My brother was in Whistler last week.
Oh.
Canada?
Dude, Whistler is awesome. Whistler is such a good time, dude.
Yeah, he was sending
Is
me
that
videos
on the west side or east side?
That's cool.
Whistler is north of Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
And the drive from Vancouver to Whistler is beautiful. Like, I'm not a motorcycle guy, but if I was a motorcycle guy, I would want to ride it from Vancouver to Whistler. Beautiful drive.
Dr. Coco's right. It's bowls. It's not balls. It's bowls.
Bowles. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Harry Bowles audits Fed on 420.
Bowls.
All right.
I was in the Midwest this weekend, so I went to Portillo's. Speaking of Portillo's, PTLO having a great start to the year. The stock has almost doubled since the New Year. I don't know why.
This is the one we were talking about a few weeks ago.
PTLO.
You just went there?
Yeah, I was there on Friday.
What is it? They make sandwiches?
Yeah, it's like Italian beef. Great.
Got it.
And then you know they do like the full dip, like dip the whole, dunk the whole sandwich in the gravy, right? Oh yeah.
Called Submarine. Yeah.
Au jus?
Awesome.
Yeah, au jus. $1 billion sandwich company. Damn.
Love it. Love to see it.
Love to see it. I'm in. Italian beef. Shout out Italian beef.
It's a secular bull market for sandwiches.
Spencer, how far are you from Hoboken?
50 minutes.
50?
50. Yeah.
Wow.
That's fine.
All right. Go on Thursdays and Saturdays. Go to Fiore's on the corner of 5th and Adams. Corner of
For the
5th and
dip?
Adams. Fiore's.
For the
Thursdays
dip?
and Saturdays.
What do you get there though?
You get the roast beef and fresh mozzarella. You pick your own bread. Some of my friends like to go roasted peppers on top of there. I could go. I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of the roasted reds.
I am. It's so classic, that roast beef, fresh mozzarella, and the gravy on top, and you can go full submarine. Shout out to Yori's. Highly recommend.
Sounds good.
Shout out New Jersey. Underrated state. Underrated.
Spaces in an hour. The Flow Show at 1.
Yeah.
That's what we got going on today. Right?
Buy everything is right. Nailed it.
Don't buy everything. But there's a lot you can buy. Don't buy everything, but there's a lot out there. Breath is expanding. I encourage everyone to go count.
I'm missing the pow pow. Let's go.
All right. Bye, guys. Smash the like. Thank you.
Adios.
I can't take no